All right, well, maybe let's get started. We have good representation of folks here, and we're recording this option so that others who can join in at their own time as well. So I want to be the first to say thank you and welcome to a first of a kind for the Diversity Institute, which is an employer discovery session. Lots of hype around these programs, and we're really excited to have you join us and hopefully even share and spread the word with your colleagues and others that might be interested in the conversation we're about to get into today. So for many of you, you know who I am. My name's Brien Convery, but again, excited to introduce you to two of our programs today that we're going to discuss, the ADaPT4Success and the ADaPT for Black Youth. And we're going to bring these sessions to you from the Diversity Institute, which I will talk a little bit more about in a few seconds. Before we get too far into the presentation, there's always a bit of housekeeping. So as people are joining or as you're listening here, just wanted to let you know the session will probably be more like 30 to 45 minutes with a Q&A that we'll keep at the end. If you have questions and you're not able to put them in the chat, you can put them in the Q&A. If not, you can hold your questions. We can take you off mute, or you can take yourself off mute and ask questions at the end. We really would love to have some engagement with each of you to clarify any questions or comments that you might have. As you saw when you're joining, this session is recorded. So for those that aren't able to tune in today, we will be providing that out to the people who signed up to be a part of today's session. The other thing is, of course, background noise. We always know that. If you can be careful if you're on mute unless you're talking, that would be wonderful. And we really encourage you, if you like to turn on your camera, we'd love to see you as well on the screen and see all of your happy faces. All right, so let's talk a little bit as your host here, a little bit about the agenda. So initially the welcomes, which we've said. We're going to next get into what is the Diversity Institute and give some program overviews. We'll talk specifically about ADaPT4Success and ADaPT for Black Youth today. And we'll highlight those programs, why those are important, why you might be interested, and why you might be interested in learning more. We're really lucky we have Sarah on, so she's a ADaPT graduate. So we're going to hear some insights from her directly and how the program helped her and her learnings and understanding that she walked away with. We'll call out an employer call to action because we would love for anybody here to take full advantage of what we're offering, and the opportunity is now. So we'll do that. And then I said, we'll get to the Q&A. So we should be good to go. So let's talk about the Diversity Institute. I know a few of you may know what the Diversity Institute is. It was founded in 1999 by Dr. Wendy Cooker. The program itself, the Diversity Institute, is part of TMU, formerly known as Ryerson, and the Ted Rogers School of Management. There's 100+ full-time researchers and staff on board. They've helped to champion legislation changes on Bill C-25. They've been named the best practice by the UN Principles for Responsible Management Education, and it helps to really conduct and coordinate multi-discipline, multi-stakeholder research for diverse Canadians. They're looking at helping the changing nature of skills and competencies, and they also help to look at the policies, processes, and tools to advance the economic inclusion and success. The great thing about working with the Diversity Institute, in my experience, having worked with them in the past, is that they're action-oriented, and it's evidence-based approach with accessing advanced knowledge of complex barriers faced by underrepresented group and leading practices to affect change and to produce concrete results. So we'll talk a little bit more about the actual offerings here in a minute, but I encourage you to check out the Diversity Institute online to learn more about the organization and everything it has to offer. It's right here in Toronto, and wonderful partner to partner with and champion the advancement of upskilling and education for youth. So you might be asking, like, well, so what is this ADaPT4Success and why? Why are we having ADaPT4Success? So back in May 2021, the Employee and Social Development Canada launched a Skills for Success program. It was really focused on the idea that we needed to focus on different skills and new skills as the evolving landscape for labor markets, employers, and the job market was changing. So this overall session that was created by the ESDC was focusing clearly on some 9 essential skills. So adaptability, creativity and innovation, problem solving, communication, collaboration, digital literacy, reading, writing, and numeracy. So some of the things that you might consider more of the human skills, maybe not so much the hard skills, but again, the idea is about having these skills and having these skills be available to new people coming to Canada and also in programs so that they can actually advance their knowledge. So that's why Adapt for Success. So I want to give you a little bit of insights into the Adapt for Success overview and curriculum. It's really an earn while you learn work integrated learning program, and it combines in-demand skills and trainings with on-job training and work. The program itself is built off the backbone of ADaPT, which you may have heard about over the last few years. It's a program that I'm very familiar with, having taught it for our branding, and also having been a partner of Diversity Institute with one of the major banks here in Toronto. So the Adapt for Success is actually a building block of what ADaPT is. The overall core parts of the program is skills for success. So things like customer service, communication strategies, personal branding, project management. And then we also tap into the digital skills, Google and data analytics, social media, artificial intelligence, and cybersecurity. The other piece about the program too is there's job searching skills that also come with the programs, resume building, career strategies, LinkedIn, and interviewing for success. So participants who participate in this work placement program during and through the program will receive a certificate of completion recognizing their achievements. You wonder how this program is brought about. It is funded by the Government of Canada Skills for Success program, as I said. If you look to the right of the slide here, you can kind of get an idea of some of the offerings that are part of the experience. So again, we talked about some of those personal branding, customer services, but here you give a glimpse of what that 20 hours of education may look like. And again, it's here to help us upskill Canadians and help current students and current new grads that may be employed by you as employers. And we'll talk about that a little bit more as we go forward. The second purpose of this program is also to create educated and upskilled future employees of your organizations. So that's the other part that this also helps fill those gaps. So for now, I'm going to turn over the stage to Laurene so she can talk a little bit more specifically about the Adapt for Black Youth program. So Laurene?
Thanks, Brien. And so the Adapt for Black Youth program, as Brien mentioned, has the same foundation as the ADaPT Classic program in that it is founded on developing the skill sets of Black youth and preparing them for the world of work. It targets Black youth between the ages of 15 to 29 in Ontario, particularly Kingston, Windsor, Thunder Bay regions, the Greater Toronto area. So pretty niche area, but I think there is a lot of opportunity here for Black youth and employers across Ontario to consider talent coming through these programs and supporting youth in achieving their social and economic success. And so two of the core outcomes from this particular program is employment. And we know that some of the barriers to employment is not having access to an in with employers. And that's one of the bridges that this program seeks to achieve is build a bridge between candidates applying to opportunities and employers accessing the talent that have the skill sets that they're looking for in a range of high quality and employment opportunities. And the next thing is around retention and ensuring that Black youth have the opportunity to advance in their respective organizations, and employers being able to provide those opportunities to Black youth. And so, as with the other program, this Adapt for Black Youth builds in a work placement component where they receive as well as certificate of completion that recognizes all the training modules that they would have completed, providing them with wraparound supports, mentorship, coaching, career development, and all of that, but also helping them to connect with employers and finding those opportunities there as well. So again, while a number of areas are targeted, I think uh, the most important pitch, I think, for employers why they would like this particular program is having a range of diverse talent within this particular program and being able to afford young Black youth with opportunities to excel in their respective organizations.
Thanks, Laurene. Thank you so much. And now, we've been waiting for this moment, is we have insights from Adapt for Black Youth graduate, and I'm really happy to introduce Sarah. Sarah is an accomplished application support engineer from Kitchener, Ontario. She has a postgraduate degree in iCloud data management from Conestoga College and a bachelor's degree in computer science from Babcock University. So Sarah, why don't you share a little bit about with the audience? First of all, how did you find out about Adapt for Black Youth?
Thank you, Brien, and thank you to the Diversity Institute for giving me this opportunity. So I found out about the Adapt for Black Youth program sometime in 2023, because I'm a member of the Black Business Professional Associate program. So I got invited to, apply for this program. And then in August, we started the program. Like you earlier mentioned, the different courses we had during my time in the program was advanced Excel, project management, building your personal brand, cybersecurity, and search engine optimization, and Google Analytics. One of the major things that I really loved about the program was, in addition to, helping us build skills and bringing in professionals to help us and educate us on the different courses that we were on, the program also encourages continuous learning, because at the end of the program, after graduation, I got invites to, enroll for additional courses in addition to the ones we had taken, just to, improve learning and to encourage personal development, which was really amazing for me. In addition to that, we also had placement sessions where we had one-on-ones with the placement team, and I got to share what my goals are, the plans I have, my short-term goals, my long-term goals, the kind of jobs I'm looking for, the industry I'm interested in. And in addition to that, I also had the resume session where I sent in my resume as it was at the time, and they gave me feedback on how to improve it, the keywords I should use on my resume, how to modify my resume to, different job applications. And it was really amazing because I had more than 3 sessions where I worked on the feedback I got, I resent it, I got more feedback until I got the, thumbs up that, okay, my resume is great. And, I could use it to apply for jobs. The icing on the cake for me for this program was, in addition to having opportunities to build a profile in different job banks like Magnet, what made me feel like I got a really good thing from this program, outside the knowledge and the additional information I got, was at the end of the program, I was actually able to get an internship role with an organization in Ontario. So my biggest concern at the time was, I felt like the focus was for youths in Toronto, but I was in Kitchener and I was a bit worried that would I be able to, get something out of this at the end of the day. So I remember the session I had, one of my one-on-ones with the placement team, and I told him that this is my location, Kitchener. Would it be an issue if I want to like get a job or anything like that? And he asked me if I was open to remote or hybrid, opportunities. And it made me feel like, okay, they are concerned and they really want me to get something out of this program. And I'm really happy to say that at the end of the day, I was able to get a remote position, which was really amazing for me. And yeah, thank you again to the ADaPT team.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you so much for sharing your journey. If I can ask you another question, how did you find this education and this training if you were to other education maybe you've received, maybe via your university or also just other educations you've taken? What was unique about the approach with this offering for you?
The unique approach for me is, or before I go into that, you
Sure.
can only get so much from your formal education, from like your university, your college, right? And they can't teach you everything. I remember that we actually had a course on Excel in school, but we didn't go in depth. And I like this program because we had practice courses or practice materials we could work on. They taught us advanced Excel, how to use the different formulas. And they also gave me the insight that it doesn't end here. You can actually use these skills to land a role because lots of companies look for these skills. So in addition to just the surface learning that the regular university or the regular college will teach you, they went in depth. And it was also amazing because they brought people in those fields. So like cybersecurity, for instance, I just had little information on how to, or I thought it was really difficult to enter into the cybersecurity space, the cybersecurity market. But the lady they brought in to take us on cybersecurity gave me a clearer picture, and she made me understand that it's not so difficult. Outside, having to network, she told us the basic skills, the basic tools we needed to have to be able to land, like, for instance, entry-level positions or certain positions in the organization. So it went in depth. The program went in depth to, giving us the actual skills that we needed, equipping us, and also encouraging continuous learning. But they shed more light on how to use these skills that we're learning to be able to enter into the market, which was really great for me.
That's wonderful. So more insights into depth into these areas, but also from subject matter experts from industry knowledge and background
Exactly.
supporting you.
Yeah.
That's really fantastic. If you were to think in the audience here today, and those that might be listening to the replay, are primarily employers and some of their students, maybe they're winter co-ops, they just have a recent new grad, and they're, trying to get their footing in those roles. Um, this opportunity is available to them right now, and we can enter and obviously bring their students and new grads on board to have this additional education and experience and apply it the very next day on the job. What would you tell the employers here about thinking about engaging their own students and new grads in this program, and any advice on what you would say to them?
What I would say is lots of new grads have little to no experience on what it's like to be in the job market and be a professional. So I would encourage anyone, any new graduate, any employer to um, suggest this program to the graduates you have with you, and also individuals. It would be really amazing for you to take on this program because you're interacting with professionals in the different fields, and they're able to streamline you, help you, align your personal goals and the professional goals to be able to meet or prepare you for the job market. So it was really amazing for me. Outside, landing a placement role, that was just the icing on the cake, like I said. It really prepared me for what the Canadian market is like, how to, tailor my resume, the kind of skills that I need. And before I took this program, I wasn't sure on what field I wanted to go into. It was either, I had different options, just like every other young person. I did not know how to streamline it. but my experience with the cybersecurity program, my experience with the search engine optimization, even project management and Excel. So I would say that the tools and the formulas I learned during the ADaPT program, it's helping me now because I'm applying it on my current job, and it's a piece of cake for me because I've had to also teach other colleagues, how to use this tool. So it gives you that extra, this program gives you that extra level of preparedness and just equips you. So I would recommend it. I have recommended it to my friends already, and I would also recommend that you do same and you enroll as many people as you can to the program.
Thank you so much, Sarah, and such a really great way to hear about the program from someone who actually experienced it. I guess one last final question I'll ask you is, so we talked about the employers and why they should consider it. What would you say to some of these students who may be at these employers and maybe they're in the process of their day job? How was it from a time management perspective? Were you able to balance your day situation with also taking the education, and how was that like?
Oh yeah. So thank you for this question because I remembered when I prior to when I got the schedule for the program, I was still in school. I'm actually still in school now, but I was still in school and I was confused, or I was a bit concerned if I'll be able to, get the maximum, things that I would be able, the outcome from the program and still not disrupt my current schedule at the time. And when I saw the training schedule, it was perfect for me because it totally aligned with my school schedule. And then I was able to just, align it. And during that time, I would say that the different courses I had was evenings, which was perfect for me. So I was done with my schoolwork, and then I had the time. I even had like mini break before we had the session. And in addition to that, we had asynchronous learning as well, where we had online tools, online links to these courses where you could go out and complete the different portions, different assignments, different projects on your own time. But of course, there was, a deadline for completion, but you still
Sure.
had that flexibility to complete at your own time. So I didn't have any schedule clash. I did not have any issue. I never had any issue where, I had to give up one thing for the other. So everything just moved smoothly for me throughout the session. But I think it was also because the team considered the fact that, we are probably students and will be engaged in different activities, and making that asynchronous, learning opportunity available for us. That was amazing as well. So no schedule clash for me.
Awesome. Well, awesome to hear. So thank you so much. I think I can't thank you enough for coming today and finding time to talk to us and our audience members about your experience. I think that's the proof is in the pudding when someone who goes in and talks about their own experiences as much as what they've gained, what they've learned, and also the opportunities that it's yielded. So congratulations on where you're working now, and I bet you're going to continue to be that lifetime learner, and can't wait to see where Sarah ends up as she moves
Thank
through her
you.
career. Thank you
Thank
so
you
much,
for having
Sarah.
me. Thank
Oh,
you.
absolutely. Thank you. So this is the time where now you've heard a little bit from me, you've heard from Laurene, and now Sarah as well. What we wanted to offer to all of you attending is just the idea that this is available now. We know things are busy, we know things are happening. One of the things we do hear a lot often, and I've heard a lot, and I'm sure you have too, is um, professional development. It's such an important part of an experience when you're working. And sometimes organizations don't have the opportunity to build out a full student program or a new grad program at their organizations. Or you may even have clients who you work with who are in a similar position where their students are doing their day job, but they also are looking for some professional development. So we wanted to bring this live today so we could talk about it and engage and have a conversation about it, because there's really two options. And the first option we wanted to talk about was the most immediate option, is thinking about enrolling your students and new grads into either ADaPT4Success or the ADaPT for the Black Youth programs. So we set up an email address where we encourage you, if you're interested, and you can share this, you can take a screenshot of this, you can share this with other employers, your clients, others that might be interested in sending their students or new grads that might be in a winter co-op now. And just send us an email and say, I attended the employer discovery session, offer one, I want to look at maybe enrolling our students or new grad. And in the email, if you could just share with us your organization, of course, your contact information so we can get back in touch, what programs you're interested in, it might be both, and what number of seats are you looking for? Are you looking to offering, at a big bank, there might be, 200 or 300 students. Are you offering this to 30 students who might want to sign up and join us? So that's really the primary focus of today's session, is really about getting these students and new grads enrolled in education that they can apply in the job immediately while they're working for you, but also give you the opportunity to say, I'm offering this to you because I also want you to have a great student experience with our organization. So we'll work with you. We'll figure out how that all comes together. But if you start by sending us an email, we have a team that's on this call that will be checking that and getting back to you and looking at enrolling the students in the programs, just like Sarah had. The second offer is we have graduates like Sarah, right? So we have students and graduates of the program who have attended both of these and are now looking for employment. So if you have opportunities for some students and new grads or early in career individuals, you can also inquire about that as well. And that's our second offer, is really just to, if you're interested in hiring, send us your organization, your contact information, and we'll take it from there. We can share some of the participants and where they are now. So it's those two options that we're looking at from an employer call to action. Hopefully that makes sense. Again, sort of the idea of enrolling students and new grads now that might need some additional support and education, like with those advanced Excel skills, or hiring someone who's graduated over the last little bit in these programs and might be interested in working for you. So now I wanted to open it up because we've covered quite a bit of content and overviews, but you may have some specific questions or a comment or discussion, and we'd like to entertain those live here if you're okay with sharing that. You can, open up your mute off, come off mute, ask your question. Or you could also, take the time to, if you don't want to do it online, you can do it in the, I believe, in the chat or the Q&A, depending on which is working for the group. But we really want to hear from you and let us know if this is of interest, if you could see others taking advantage of it. Obviously it's timely, and that's why we wanted to do this today. So anybody out there, brave soul, ask a question, comment, thoughts about the opportunities? I'll open it up.
And I did wanted to quickly chime in and say that as far as cost to employers, there is no fee. So you can enroll current individuals in our programs and no cost to you. And as far as placement opportunities or work placement opportunities, we have a pipeline of talented individuals just like Sarah, who are also exploring opportunities. So again, feel free to reach out to us. There might be some subsidies available of up to 70%. And we are looking to offer those amounts once you reach out and if you meet the eligibility criteria. But again, happy to keep the conversation going.
Thank you, Laurene. Any questions, thoughts, comments? Okay, we have one in the Q&A. Thank you, Jeffrey. Great presentation. Thank you. One question. Can this be shared with students, not just employers? I'll leave my colleagues to want to answer that.
Yeah, it can absolutely be shared with interested candidates. Again, just emphasizing that as spots are limited, it's important to reach out to us and indicate, what programs you're interested in, or coaches are available to kind of direct individual students as the case might be.
Thanks, Laurene. And of course, thanks, Jeffrey, for that question. It's a timely opportunity. You may know of students that are working in current companies where they could use this education. So that's the opportunity we're happy for you to share. Of course, we'd want them to still send a note here, if you don't mind referencing, your reference to this. And then we could look at scheduling them independently into the courses. But again, employers, for those that are on the line here, I know many of you have clients, you have people that you support with offerings, you run your own programming. Is this something that you feel comfortable that you could also share as an ambassador or as part of our program here? Do you have enough information if you were to share this? Did we not answer a question? Don't be shy.
Well, I think it's clear, it's Paul Hamilton here, that anything you touch, sir, is always thorough and complete. So this was a fantastic presentation. Thank you for bringing this to the table. I'm curious, Sarah, as someone who's currently in the spotlight with everyone sort of looking at you, tell me about what you saw as the sort of the biggest value add for you personally, and if there was one thing that you would like to see different, what would that look like?
Thank you for that question. One thing that was really beneficial to me was the resume review session. I liked it because it wasn't just the a regular session where they would say, okay, you should have this on your resume. It seemed, or how I felt during that time was that they were interested and invested in ensuring that at the end of the program, I would be able to come out and have a quality resume that I can present, to anyone. So I mentioned earlier that I had different sessions, one-on-one sessions where I told them what I was doing, the experiences I had, my school, my education experience, and I also presented my resume and they reviewed it more than once, I think about 3 times until I had like the final, go ahead to say that my resume was okay. So that really stood out to me because now I know that my resume is really good because I've had like experts in that field review it and give me their feedback. One thing I would say that I would like them to improve, I don't know if I would say to improve on, but during my experience, I think Laurene mentioned that, you could mention the different courses you're interested in. So during my time, I didn't have that. So we just had the courses, available to us that we're going to be taking for the program. So the courses were very useful to me. I don't know about other participants, but I could say that candidates who are going to enroll for the program, they could have the option, or since employers are going to, refer their students to take on this program, employers should be able to, choose the different courses they want the students to be, trained on. So that is like the only thing I would say.
So well, thank you for that, because that was actually the question that I really wanted to get at. Is there flexibility for employers to support their
Absolutely.
students by helping them select the right courses that are aligned to specifically the job that they are being targeted for, or maybe even their career interests? So not a one size fits all approach is what you're saying, Sarah. And I think watching all the nods of the heads, that it is something that you've actually amended. Probably the first iteration was
Absolutely.
a one size, but now you've realized we need some flexibility, which is great. So I love that adaptability that you've been able to demonstrate early out of the gates.
Yes.
Absolutely. And that's something that's been built in the iterative process of how we develop content, how we incorporate feedback, whether from employers, from our participants, and tailor the training. And so actually we have worked with employers to modify our full course offerings to tailor that to specifically what they're looking for. So for example, we've worked with large organizations to focus on courses in a particular industry, like, you know, banking sector or insurance sector. We have worked with SMEs who are looking for more training around like marketing, social media, that sort of thing. So lots of flexibility. There is a built-in component around tailoring the content. And if you reach out to us, we're happy to share the full complement of our offerings, and also work with you to see what can be developed as well. That is a value add, I think, for many of our employers.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Paul, for your question, and for sharing your thoughts there too, because we know that these skills are really needed by us as employers, and what a great way for young people to get that access and have the ability to do that. Athena, nice to see you. I see your question says, what was the biggest support you felt during this program? So I'm assuming this is for Sarah. What was the biggest support you felt during this program? And as a student just starting out, what would you suggest is the best first step?
Okay, so my biggest support that I felt during the program was the fact that every trainer was invested in ensuring that we had the best. So outside the regular training sessions that we had, every single trainer or facilitator gave us the opportunity to engage with them outside the program. So they dropped their contact details, their LinkedIn information, and also the organizers of the program as well. I still keep in touch with a couple of them. So I felt like this program and everybody involved in the program wanted me to succeed. Everyone involved in the program wanted me to, come out and be confident enough in myself to say that I can apply for certain jobs and I have the skills and I'm equipped and I will be able to land the role. So the collective support from the team, the fact that it wasn't just a regular session where they did not permit me to use that word about, the participation of everyone. But we had, I think what really stood out for me would be the one-on-one sessions, because the one-on-one sessions made me believe that the program was interested in my development as a fresh graduate or as a student, and that they were really involved in or interested in my success. And as a student just starting out, I would suggest that the knowledge that we have in school is not enough. It's not enough to get you into the door or get one foot into the door. So I would say that the best first step is, start to build your network. I like the fact that the program also incorporated, building your personal brand. So the first step is focusing on how to present yourself to these employers, to the people that you want to notice you, because your brand is how you want people to see you. So the first step is focusing on yourself. Do I need to build on personal skills or professional skills? So looking inwards, trying to build your brand, because building your brand also involves, the skills you should learn, both personal and professional or technical skills. So focusing on yourself is the best first step. Building your brand, that will now help you align to the different skills or the different programs you need to enroll in. So that is my take on the question.
That was a good answer. Thank you so much again. I'm so glad you're here with us. Give the firsthand insights to everybody attending. So thank you so much. Another question from Jeffrey in the chat. For a startup small company, are the graduates also available to hire? So I guess, do you need to be a big bank or a big employer to actually tap into this talent? I'll leave that to my colleagues as well.
No, as I've said, we've worked with small and medium-sized enterprises or businesses up to large corporations. So we're super flexible with working with various employers at different stages in their employment pathways or journeys, from a startup to, 5 year in, 2 year in, to identify where the gaps are, retalent, and how we can support their training needs. I mean, as regarding subsidies, that's something that's tailored towards for that very purpose, assisting SMEs to hire the talent, because you recognize that, especially in the startup phase, a lot of these smaller organizations do not have funding if they're looking to hire new talent. So again, like, if there are opportunities at different levels, there are lots of opportunities to support you.
Perfect. Recognize we're getting close to the end. Any other questions, thoughts, or comments that we didn't cover or we didn't address through the Q&A space that is on your mind? And you can come off mute too if you like, that's fine. Okay. So one of the questions I have, or one of the comments I have, is I want to first of all thank you all for who's come to this session. Sometimes you get a lot of different emails or a lot of communications or gazillions of posts probably from me on LinkedIn, which I know I do. But the idea was to really just have this conversation, and I'm really glad that each of you has engaged and maybe walking away with a little bit more knowledge of this ADaPT program. Like I said, I had delivered this time and time again to cohorts at the bank, and the students were applying the skills the very next day, even to the point where the hiring managers would call me up and say, "Where did my student go last night? They have this new appreciation for formulas and advanced Excel and other things." And I said, "Well, they were at ADaPT." So I mean, I've experienced this program and seen the results on the employer side, and I can't speak enough about that. And I think if you have opportunities at your organizations that you think maybe I should talk to, I know we have people here from talent, we have hiring managers, we have, executives in the business. If you have the opportunity to bring this to your HR teams, to your program leads, and say, you know, are a few people looking like they could use this opportunity, then share that and send us an email, and we can put together the idea of how we would make that happen for you. We know that March is here. We know that there's a lot to do, but I have personally heard from a lot of students that I continue to mentor and to see, and there's some students out there now that are saying like they're working and it's great, but the professional development and some of the student programming isn't really there for them to take advantage of. So if you can introduce this, or you can introduce to a friend or a colleague at another organization who maybe has 3 or 4 students, and doesn't have a big program team or a big HR team, this is perfect, because they can actually take this while they're working for you, and you're the one that introduced them to it, which makes that student experience memorable working with you. So if anything of my ask is, if you're interested, please send us an email. If you can take what we've shared today and share it amongst your friends and other colleagues, feel free to do so. Take a screenshot of this slide. We're going to be also sharing out the recording, but best endorsements really come from those you know, and I know many of you here, and I really would appreciate that opportunity, because we don't want these seats to go unfilled. When there are definitely youth out there and talent out there that could take full advantage of this opportunity. So again, thank you so much for joining. I know my colleagues here on the call, I really appreciate it. And we're really excited that you took the opportunity to spend with us. So thank you again for that. And if you need any other help, you can also direct message me. And I can also, work with you and your organization, in addition to the request here. I'm happy to do that as well. But thank you again. Thank you to my colleagues. Thank you. Big shout out and thank you to Sarah. You've been incredible. And you can also catch Sarah on a podcast talking about ADaPT with all of her colleagues on the Coffee with Convery podcast, which is available. So if you want to share that or learn more too. But thank you again, everyone. And thank you to my colleagues and friends here for joining us today. Much appreciated. Thank you. Have a great day.